What's up? Minnesota, what's happening? Rochester, New York. Tampa Bay, what's happening? Doing okay, brother. How about you? What's up, Joe? St. Clair Shores, Michigan. What's happening? Pennsylvania, how's it going? What's up, Kyle? Gold Coast, what's happening? Also Rochester, eh? Cornersville, Indiana. Awesome. What's up, Chris? What's up, Chester? Kalamazoo, Michigan, just north of where I grew up. What's up, Pupwaller? We'll talk about Marlowe's engine a little bit in detail. We'll get some more people on, but turned out good. I'll tell you all about it. Everyday Ray, what's up? How's it going, Shane? Oh yeah, I flipped the gears on that thing. Heck yeah, I do. Saudi Arabia, how's it going over there? You guys okay? What's up, Andrew? Going okay. Nice, 30 people. Let's get that 30 thumbs up. What's up, Sean? What's up, Mark? Trucks are making it, brother. They're making it. It's been a rough 4, 5, 6 weeks, but things are coming around. Nope, I'm in Hong Kong. Left South Korea. What time did I get here? I think I got here at 5 a.m. local, and it's 8:30. So got here a few hours ago. Short flight from Incheon, South Korea to Hong Kong, about 3 hours and 55 minutes. Nope, haven't sold any trucks lately. What's up, Michael? Come on, guys, we got 12. Let's get 35. Let's get 35 thumbs up. No, Shane, I'm not really in a position to do any drivers. I need to recoup some funds and focus on some long-term plans for the channel. Yeah, I got a little jet lag, Jim. Let's see, I left Chicago. Well, first I left Atlanta for Chicago. I slept, had breakfast. I flew from Chicago to Incheon, South Korea. It's 13 hours and 45 minutes. We were there about 24 hours. I think I slept about off and on 9 hours of that 24. And then we flew here. And I'm just on coffee right now. So probably get tired here in 2, 3 hours and I'll sleep 10 maybe. I've got about 16 hours. Yeah, I think I had 16 hours until I have to be back at the airplane. And then I'm flying to Anchorage, which is about 10 hours. And then I'll do a live from Anchorage as well. What's up, Chad? From Kentucky. Well, we've got 42 people in, 24 thumbs up. We're almost there. I grew up in Sturgis, Michigan. Lived in White Pigeon for a number of years after that, and Three Rivers for a number of years after that. Once we get 45 of these, we'll start talking about Marla and the adventures we've had lately. I'll bring you guys up to speed on that. I'll bring you up to speed on Charlie Bucket. Bring you up to speed on Rhonda. Yeah. 30. We're getting close. 12 to go. Come on. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely more than a million miles. The truck show is the end of March. I think it's the 26th, 27th, and 28th. Let me consult the calendar. 29th. No, that's May. 27th, 28th, and 29th. Oh, what's up, Seth? X's owner in the house. We're still on a hiatus. We're talking about X, though. It's coming, though. It's coming. It's coming about time. It's almost springtime, so we're gonna have to start thinking about X pretty soon. But both me and Seth, the new owner of X, not so new owner anymore. He's owned it for a long time, but we've been taking a hiatus from thinking about and or discussing that truck for right now. But it's getting close. We're gonna have to focus on it again. But we're gonna get mats over with and get the winter over with, and then make something happen with that. Jessica's not quite ready to just be turned loose in a truck yet, but we're working on that. That's something that's long overdue, and we just talked about it the other day. Actually, it's coming down to time to paint that thing and put some interior in it, and she needs to be able to wield it. So we had some discussion on it. We're both on the same page, and we should get some truck driving training done over the summer, I hope. What's up, Bryant? We still need 10 of these. Oh, Jessica's right there. Just one truck to Matt's. Hopefully one truck to Matt's. And we're hoping for good weather. We're hoping for peace with the Detroit gods, and we're hoping wholeheartedly that everything goes well. We'll talk more about that. We just need just 5 more of these, and we'll get started. We'll get started right on Marla. What's up, Norm? How's it going? Oh, really? Menards got hurt, huh? I miss old Three Rivers. I worked at American Axle Manufacturing for about 10 years in a past life. Lots of fond memories of that town, and yeah, Sturgis and White Pigeon as well. Well, you tell Alta and Elizabeth that I said hello. Hopefully I said her name right. I am pretty blind. I'm doing okay, Norm. It's been a testing and trying last 5 or 6 weeks, and it's been hard work, and me and Jessica put it in, and hopefully we'll be able to reap the rewards and have a successful Matt's visit and meet a bunch of cool people, and maybe let's establish some long-lasting relationships, which is always the goal. And we're just I'm just trying to put it out there. This is going to be a good trip and a good time, and we're gonna be done with all the nonsense that's been going on. All right. Well, I can't keep holding you guys hostage. We got 40 thumbs up. There's 48 people on. Maybe we can get those other 8, but I promise we'd talk about it come 40. What's up, Roger? How's it going? Sidetrack Sunday. Good afternoon to you. Chilliwack. Nice. Yep. I got old Hong Kong. I got the bay back there. It's a great looking day out today. I might get out there and get a little bit of sweat going, but let's get after talking about Marla. So we've got quite a few videos that are getting ready to come out. We've got a little bit of video that has to do with Rhonda. We have a little bit of video that has to do with Charlie Bucket. We have a little bit of video that has to do with the new shop. We have a lot of video that has to do with Marla. And, I know some of you guys are up to date on the Marla engine situation. I know some of you guys are a little bit behind, and I haven't been like sharing because life has been one huge kick in the butt for the last 6 weeks. And so I've been kind of sheltered and not and trying not to just blow my top with stuff that's been happening. You probably noticed in the last few videos that I slipped quite a few F-bombs out there. That's not quite how I normally do things, but it's been a super stressful few weeks. Anytime you're trying to get ready for an event, and anytime that you're trying to like finish all the ridiculous little things that come up when you have a truck down for major surgery like Marla's been, and you're trying stuff that hasn't been done, that you haven't done before, you're always going to come up with things that are setbacks, and you just have to you got to suck it up, and you got to persevere, and you got to push through, and you got to stay positive, and you got to once in a while blow your top over some ridiculous stuff. But enough of that. This is what happened. So we got the engine in Marla. You guys saw all that work. Chad came down. We got the transmission in. We got the thing running. There was all kinds of weird stuff that I'd never experienced before, and sensors and wiring and charging and cooling, and just one hurdle after another, and just making radiator tubing and making intercooler pipes and trying to get exhaust to work, and thinking that the transmission I bought was junk, and dealing with all that stuff. And it's, again, you just have to keep on trucking and keep persevering. So we get the truck to where I got the bugs worked out of the transmission. We got the thing making juice off the alternator. We got the wiring narrowed down good. We got all the lights back working. We got gauges going. And then we take the truck for the maiden voyage. You guys watched that video maybe a month ago or a little longer. And from the outside, everything looked like it was okay. However, the truck was weird. The truck didn't sound like a Detroit. It had plenty of power, but it didn't sound like a Detroit. You guys know when you're listening to a 60 series, the exhaust at idle has like a cackle. I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't sound like a Cat. It doesn't sound like a Cummins. You can tell it's a Detroit. It has a cackly noise in the pipes. And this engine just didn't have that sound. And it was like, I realized I've never had a 14-liter before, but it's still a 60 series, so it should kind of sound similar. But, I just wasn't sure what to expect. But it just didn't sound like a 12.7. And it also made this sort of fuel knock noise, but it wasn't all the time. It was just kind of in the background. It would be like idling along, and then it'd be kind of like a marbles in a coffee can noise, just a little, and then it would do it a couple times, like a shake, a shake, a shake of the marbles, and it was really weird. And then we took the truck for the drive, and you could feel the engine surge, not really like a misfire, but kind of like an advanced surge when it made this noise. It was kind of unsettling, but we thought, well, it's not making any codes. Everything's gonna be cool. So we took it for that first drive. We took Trisha to the ranch. Well, about 15 minutes into the drive, it started setting codes, and I didn't have my laptop with me, and so I was just there's a diagnostic switch in there where you can ask the ECM to give you some diagnostic codes. And so I'm trying to drive and shift and trying to count blinks of the yellow light, and I'm like, I think that might be just low coolant, because we had the truck done, and then we had the coolant leak at the oil cooler. So we had to cool it out and took the oil cooler off and did a reseal on the oil cooler for the cut O-ring, and we put all the coolant back in. And then we had to take the coolant back out for something else and put all the coolant back in. Then take the coolant back out. It was like 4 or 5 times we had it out. And each time you do it, you make a little bit of a mess. You lose a little coolant. So I thought, well, it's probably it's borderline at the coolant sensor or the coolant level sensor, and that's all the problem is. So we continued the drive. We went up, we dumped the truck off, we got back in it, and we came back, and it was coding constantly. Like, it went from like one check engine light on and off every 10, 15 minutes to like every minute it was setting a code. So we went back to the house, and the codes were 41 and 42, which was our timing sensor codes. And when we built the engine and we put the engine off of the engine stand onto the trailer to bring it home, we had pinched the timing sensor in the chain and broke it off. I didn't have a timing sensor, but the engine I got from Tim had a timing sensor. So we pulled the timing sensor out of that motor and put it in this motor. Now, that timing sensor had some hours on it. And so I just thought, well, we'll put new timing sensors in. So ordered new sensors from Freightliner. Came in a few days. I came out to work. I got home. It was freezing cold. Put the timing sensors in. Started it up, and it was still setting codes. And so then we started trying to figure out what the problem was. Is the cam timing correct? We're using an old camshaft in a more modern compact valve train engine. And so in order to do that, you have to press an adapter on the camshaft, and it's just not easy. And so we were wondering, maybe we didn't have it pressed on all the way. Maybe it was pressed on too far. Maybe the keyway and that adapter was off, and we had a little bit of a timing issue or whatever. So we spent a lot of time diagnosing that. And this story is long, I know. And everything we tried just didn't change anything. And I was getting ready to put a ball of clay on the crank sensor and push it into the motor, and then use a mic and see how far away the crank sensor was, because there's a tolerance, 20 to 40 thousandths. So I was going to look in the hole to see if the gear was lined up, so I could put some clay on it, pop it in, and see what that was. And I couldn't really see in the hole, so I called Jessica and I said, bring the camera out, let's look in this hole. And it just a freak happening that the lug on the timing gear that the sensor reads on was pointing out the hole, and it just so happened to be one of 3 damaged cogs on that gear. Had it been on a clean spot, I would have continued to try and diagnose the problem, because I wouldn't have seen the damage. But because the engine stopped right where the damaged part was, when we looked in there, we could clearly see there was damage. And I want to say that video is already posted. It is posted. And you can see the damaged area on that timing ring. So contacted the engine builder, Randy King's Truck Service. He was disappointed to hear it. And he said, you know what? There's nothing we can do but get it in here and get it fixed. So bring it in. So I don't know how to really like convey this, but Randy's shop is busy. He is like the diesel shop for the whole area. And so getting something into his shop is a long process because the shop's only so big and it is full of trucks all day, every day. He is moving trucks in and out, but he has got a huge backlog of work. So take the truck down there. First, I take the oil pan off. You saw that. Took the oil pump off. Tried to fix the timing ring, which there is no fixing it. I contemplated welding it. I ended up doing some other stuff to try and, bring the metal back up and try and clean it off. All I did was make it worse. Long story short, we did that video. We took it apart. We put it back together. We spent $300 on oil and filters. And then we drove the thing an hour down to Randy's and dropped it off. Took a couple of weeks to be able to get it in the shop. Those couple of weeks, I needed the truck to move from the main house to the ranch. I needed to move all the trucks. I had so many things scheduled, but now the truck was down. So we had 2 weeks of the truck sitting at Randy's, not getting into the shop because you just had a lot of jobs in there that were already apart and going back together, and you had to finish those first. So fast forward a couple of weeks, finally get the truck in the shop. They like, all I can say is it is a lot of work to change that bottom timing gear. You have to take the whole front of the engine off, take the cover off, take the cam off because the cam is like pressured onto the valve train or the gear train, and so you can't take that gear off with the cam in. So that means jakes off, valve train off, camshaft off. Get a special tool in there that pulls that main gear off, and swap out that timing gear, and then use that special tool on reverse to press the main gear back on, and then reassemble the whole engine. Cam timing, rerun the valves, reset the jakes. It was a big job, huge job. And so the whole time that they're putting it back together, I'm down there bugging them every minute. Hey, come on, what are we going to do? I got to have the truck back. And they're doing the best they can to take care of the trucks they've already got in the shop and get my truck done. So it's frustrating on their part because I'm pushy, frustrating on my part because I was on vacation last month. And so it was like just a super pressure cooker. And so we get it. And I'm asking him, I'm like, dude, what are we going to do if this doesn't fix the problem? And he's like, listen, we can't worry about that right now. Only thing we can worry about is fixing this problem and going from there. If that isn't what's causing the problem, we'll just keep on digging into it. And so let's see, it was Friday at about 3 p.m. And I get in the car and I drive down there and they're working on it. And I'm like, I need this thing tonight. And it was completely apart. When I got down there, the front cover was on. It was back in time. Front cover was on, cam was in, and part of the valve train was going on. Still hadn't done the cooling system or the fan and all that stuff, and rewired all the stuff they had to take off. And I was like, dude, I got to have it. He said, don't worry about it. We're going to burn the midnight oil, and we're going to get this truck out of here tonight. And so we were there till I think it was 11 p.m. And we started the thing up, and it was making a whooshing sound, and then it made a poof sound. And so the thing ran like 10 seconds. And I heard this whooshing noise, and I'm like, something's not right. And then it sounded like it blew an airline, so I shut it off. And I was like, what was that? And he's like, I don't know, it sounded like blew an airline. I said, I thought that too, but is there oil running out of it? And man, it had put 6 gallons of oil on the ground in 10 seconds. Like an unbelievable amount of oil. So I was I was like, oh my God, you know what? But what all it was the defective oil filter blew the seal off the thing. Not a huge deal, a huge mess, but not a huge deal. We addressed the problem, re-oiled the thing, and started it up. And at this point, I didn't even think about the check engine light. I was just concerned about the fact that we just oiled this whole shop at 11 p.m. on Friday night when everybody was gone except for a couple of us, and started up. And Caleb, which is Randy's son, drove it out of the shop, and there's oil like yes everywhere on the truck. We're trying to wipe it all off and get it. You know, it's dark, pitch dark out. I wanted to drive it, but I didn't want to drive it far because we no way to tell in the dark if something happens. So I'm like, I'm just going to drive it around the block, and if it doesn't set a code, we're going to call it good, and then I'll come back in the morning in the daylight, pre-flight the thing, and then I'll drive it home. So I drove it around the block, and it didn't put a code up, and it didn't make that fuel knock noise, and it seemed great. And I was like, yes. So one other thing that was happening pre um, pre-engine problem was the rear main seal leaked on that thing. So let's talk about the rear main seal for a minute. The rear main seal gets installed with a rear main seal installation tool. You can't really screw it up. What's up, brother? But the thing is, we didn't use a Detroit seal. I'm going to tell you, if you got a 60 series Detroit, put a dang Detroit brand rear main seal on it. Save yourself from having to take a transmission off and take a clutch off to change a seal that you just put in. But sure enough, that thing had a rear main seal leak that was as bad of an oil leak as the 8V92. May even have been worse. And so keep that in mind for the rest of the story. So I get up, I drive home. I get home about midnight 30. I think Wayno called. Yeah, Detroit Wayno, old two-stroker, called me because I had sent him. I think I sent him a message or something about the oil blowout in the shop, and I didn't expect him to reply right away. I figured he was probably in bed, but he called me right away, and we talked till like 2 a.m. And so it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I go to bed. I want to get up and be at the shop at like 9 a.m. to be able to pick the truck up. So I wake up, I grab a cup of coffee, dump it down my gullet, and jump in the truck, and I drive the 30 minutes down to Randy's. And I get there, and the thing is, the truck is a mess. Dude, it is so covered in oil. So I get to pre-flight, and I get underneath it, and I start wiping oil off of it, and coolant and everything else that was on it, because I wanted to be able to drive the thing and make sure there was no leaks before I took off for a half-hour drive back to the ranch. And got on there, dried it all up, checked the coolant, checked the oil. I think I added coolant. Fired it up, stuck it on high idle. Now with the damaged ring, when you stuck it on high idle on the cruise, it went kind of like a bump, 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 bump before it idled. It was like really weird, like it was hunting timing. And so I flipped the cruise on, hit it to high idle, it revved smooth to 1,000 RPMs and just sat there smooth. And at that point, I knew we had the problem fixed. Now we did not take the transmission off things, so we still had the oil leak coming out of the bell housing. So I let the truck warm up maybe 10, 15 minutes. Moved a bunch of tools out of the Trailblazer in there just in case I had a breakdown because I was alone, lone soldier out there driving this truck for the first time since the engine was put back together. I jumped in that thing, and man, everything about the truck was completely different. The engine sounded like a Detroit while I was idling. The power was different. I'm not going to say it made more power because I think it made more power before its seat of the pants feel, but the tone the engine made when it came up on power was so much cooler. And the power band seemed so much longer and the Jakes were so much louder. Like every bit of it was just like a completely different truck. And so I drove it to the ranch, which is about halfway from Randy's to the main house, and pulled into the ranch and shut her down and got out and got underneath it and looked for leaks. And the only leak we had was a rear main seal, and it was pretty substantial. And what else? I think I was at the house maybe 15, 20 minutes and, gathered up some stuff to head to the main house because we planned on grabbing the RGN and putting Franny on it and heading it back out there. And so maybe 20 minutes or so, jumped in the truck, took off, enjoyed the ride home. I mean, that thing makes huge, huge power. And got to the house and I was so satisfied. You see that? You see the little video on Facebook with me pounding the Jakes all the way down from 16th gear to second. Just the sound of that thing, so amazing. So, anyways, get to the house, pull in, pretty much a done deal. Like, super happy with the results. Randy and the boys came through with me for me, got that thing running like a raped ape. I think we parked it for the night. Yeah, we parked it for the night. Got up the next day, changed out that busted roof vent fan in the sleeper, put in some new seat belts. Me and Jessica been driving that thing with no seat belts. Put in some new seat belts, did a wash and a little polish on the truck, hooked up the RGN, got Franny on there, got it delivered out to the ranch, brought it back, got Charlie Bucket on there, got it delivered to the ranch. And then right before I came out to work, we took the truck back down to Randy's. Also, when we delivered Charlie Bucket, I had noticed some oil spray on the rear airbags. And so the bearing in the input bearing on the rear drive axle is out. So we took it back down to Randy's. He's going to swing the transmission, put a Detroit seal in that thing instead of that aftermarket seal. Don't use aftermarket seal. Detroit rear main seal for the win. We're going to put a new bearing in, new seal in that rear diff, check all the fluids in that thing. And when I get home, I have 2 days. We took the seat belts off last year to put in Betty. Yep, that's absolutely right. We haven't just been freeballing in the truck. That's true. She's right. So anyways, we dropped it off and Randy's going to squeeze it in this next week and get the transmission done or the transmission out, new rear main seal in, transmission back in, rearmost drive shaft out, new bearing, new seal, probably some new U-joints in that little shaft, and get that thing ready for me to pick up the minute I land. From the minute I land, if I get home on time, I have 2 days to polish that truck and get to Louisville. So that's the Marl update. It's been hell, but we are on the cusp of having that truck at Matt's. I know that was a super long story. It's been 30 minutes. But what do you think? Think we can make it? And yep, that is a whole lot of weight off my chest, bro. Like, seriously, I love that truck. And I committed, let's just say I committed more than 50 grand to that engine project. And we started that engine, I think, in May, June, July, August, September, October. We brought that engine home like November 1st. I think we pulled the 8V92 out that weekend. And from November 1st until January 1st, that truck was under the knife. And in 2 months, we went from a 8V92 factory install, factory cooling system to a 60 series 14 liter D-Deck 4 fully high performance coated PAI kit, marine camshaft, big injectors, custom made stainless diesel 5-blade Mafia XX millimeter turbo. We didn't let any of that info out. A brand new cooling pack from Radiator Supply House. That's right, Icebox. Air Dog fuel system. Bell Performance Solutions stainless one piece. Is it one piece? I don't want to say that. Stainless steel exhaust manifold. Bell Performance Solutions has been there for me to help out with the injectors, with the camshaft, with the exhaust manifold. Exotic studs, head bolts, head stud kit. They don't give those things away, but if you're going to be putting that kind of turbo boost, you need something to keep that head down. I can't remember the name of the Porter's. I think his name is David Porter Machine Shop in Alabama. I'll get you the specs on that. These guys like stepped up, got me some parts. Me and Jessica spent the time. Chad came down and helped. Don came over and helped. And I think we did 6 months worth of work in 2 months on that truck. And it's super cool that Randy stood behind that. We don't even know how that timing gear got hurt. Did it get hurt during assembly? Did it get hurt prior to that? Did something go through the motor? Questions were asked. Couldn't figure out what had happened. Randy stepped up and knocked that thing out of the park. And the thing is, when you rely on a place or a repair shop to work on your baby, and then something goes wrong, the only thing you can expect is for them to stand behind it. And Randy King stood behind that job. He knocked it out of the park, and I'm super happy with that. And so there you have it. That's the whole update on Marla. The plan is to get home, spend at least 20 of the 48 hours we have to work on it, polishing, waxing, cleaning, and hiding. We got a whole bunch of wiring that needs to be cleaned up and look good. And we're going to get that thing up to Louisville. We're hoping for a victory. And by that, I mean to drive the 6 hours with no problems and make it up to Louisville, get that truck polished up for the show. We're not sure where exactly inmats will be. There's a 91% chance we'll be inside Matt somewhere, but there is a small percent chance that we'll be out in the parking lot somewhere. We're hoping for the inside. It's never a done deal until you get it inside. But man, we're super excited. This has been a better last few days than it has the last few weeks. I can tell you that. So any specific questions I know there's a lot of information. Any specific questions you want to ask me about that, or anything else about Marla? It's a good time to do it right now. Yeah, Keith, for sure. We're pretty sure we're going to be inside. ATHS, great group to belong to. You guys should check it out. Again, think about my sponsors. I got Air Dog for the fuel systems, Radiator Supply House, that's right, Icebox, got Bell Performance Solutions, got stainless diesel, got exotic studs. If you guys are going to build something and you want great vendors that have great customer support and great prices, hit those guys up. If you need a cooling pack, there isn't any reason not to just call Radiator Supply House and order it up. Let me tell you what, the thing comes in a great box. It gets there just in a couple of days, and it is all brand new, perfect. Take it out of the box, put it in the truck, hook up some hoses, and you've got a cooling pack. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. Well, Dan, it's like if we wanted to buy our own booth, this is going to stagger the imagination. I want to say we could get our own booth at Matt's for 25 grand. Could you imagine being able to just spend 25,000 bucks to have a spot in a building for a table with some merch and a truck? I can't even imagine being able to spend that. Through ATHS, they get us into that show for basically free. There's a very limited amount of space. And ATHS, even though I probably pester them a little bit too much than I should, ATHS is a great group. They love trucking. They love the history of trucking. And, it's all about that for them. And so I'm honored to be able to get my truck in with ATHS. Now, there's a chance that it might not happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's not their fault. There's just very limited space. We'll have to see what happens next year. What I'd like to do this year is find a way to secure a permanent spot inside of Matt's with a vendor. And we're not going to talk about any of that other stuff because it's all speculation. But let's just say I'd like to get in with a vendor and have a permanent place in their booth, and that'd be super cool. I'd like to have my own space, but we're just not there. We're not there with the channel. We're not there with the trucks. Marla's super cool, but it's not a show truck. Betty's super cool, but it's not a show truck either. I would 100% love to have my own booth with Marla in show condition, Betty in show condition, and some merch, and just everybody could come to my booth and hang out, eat a little food, check out the trucks. I'd dig that. Maybe 2027, maybe 2028. That'd be super cool. The money that I rattled off, Dan, is the money that I spent to swap that engine, transmission, and cooling pack. It's more than 50,000. And if you think about that, 50,000 is not that much, considering we put an all new, remanufactured block and head, but all new parts in that engine. So it's a brand new 14-liter. If you look at Hack Nation or any of those builders out there, that thing's anywhere from $35,000 to $55,000 for the engine. I got a very expensive billet center section, billet wheel turbo, stainless steel exhaust manifold, high dollar injectors and cam, that brand new cooling pack, that's radiator, tanks, and an intercooler. Our friends at Industrial Injection sent me some badass couplers for the intercooler piping, good for like 100 psi if we ever did that. We got that brand new to me, remanufactured RTLO 22918 transmission. We got that 3,500 foot-pound Alliance clutch. We got that brand new drive shaft from Holder's Drive Shafts in Rockmart, Georgia. What else did we do? And then, you got all the other stuff, all the incidentals, hoses and belts. And dude, just that, can you imagine? And anybody who's a truck driver or owner operator already knows how much is a clutch fan. Just a clutch fan for the radiator, $1,000. It's unbelievable how much stuff costs. Then you got belts and hoses, and you got a $3,000 wiring harness, you got an $800 throttle pedal. You got, each one of those 2 5/16 is pro gauges. It's a couple $100. Switches and BS and oil and coolants and all that. It's never ending. But listen, in the end of the day, that's a brand new truck, brand new engine, brand new trans, brand new cooling pack. If that truck was going out on the road, you could expect it to go 600,000 miles without any major issues. And so it's money well spent. Yeah, I get it, Dan. It does suck. It would be cool to see you. It'd be cool to see all you guys there, like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like we already know each other. We spend a lot of time on the internet talking to each other and hanging out. I feel like I know most of you guys anyways. Okay. So Mark, listen, I want a deal with Four State so bad. I want it so bad. I would love Four State to make a connection with me and get me some help on some fuel tanks. It needs fuel tanks so bad. Those tanks are so ugly. I need a deck plate, fuel tanks. I need to light that thing up. I need fenders. That truck needs fenders. Um, so there's still a lot to go. We're about $40,000 shy of being done with Marla. I would like to do all new interior. I'm hoping that day cab company will see this video and say, James, we're going to get you an interior. That'd be super cool. But even if they don't give me one, I'm going to buy one because it needs to look brand new inside. It needs to look brand new outside. I would love to work some kind of arrangement out with Team Steam, Ray at Team Steam. I'd love to have Ray do the body work of paint on Marla. I'd love for that to be a thing. He's super far away. He's a super busy guy. But I would super love to have Ray paint Marla. I think that would be amazing. But anyways, enough about that. That's blue sky stuff. And just have to see how it goes. Let's see. I just saw Strickland's name here. Let me catch up a little bit. Right on, Keith. It'd be good to see you. And Dan, I agree too. It is better than a new truck. We got, that was another thing. I only showed one video of the front suspension on that because I lost the footage. I had a mental glitch and destroyed a bunch of footage I thought I had saved. But doing the front springs on Marla was a super intimidating job for me. And it turned out to be easier than I expected. I'd never done it before. It just seemed like it was more complicated than it was, and I was really dreading it, but I'm super glad we did it. We're definitely going to do springs and, bushings and all that on Jessica's truck. I'm trying to think. I wanted to drop the name. Hold on. Give me 20 seconds and I'll turn this plane around. Let me just look. Do. What the heck, man? Sometimes you have something on your mind and you go to say it and the words just won't come out. I'm trying to give you the name of the place I bought the front springs from. And I can't believe I can't say it. Babe, do you know where I got them? Yeah, I can't. I just can't for the life of me come up with the name of the company out of my head. Anyways, it's not that big a deal. I will come up with it and say it as soon as it pops back into my mind. But anyways, we'll be using them again. It was super simple. Gave them a call, gave them the VIN number on the truck, We had a couple of back and forth text messages asking me some dimensions. Ordered the parts. They came like the second day on a pallet. Everything was right. Bing, bang, boom. Bob's your uncle. All new front springs. And that truck rides nice compared to how it used to. The alignment's off. We're going to try and get alignment before we run it up there. We're also going to put, we're putting crystals, wheels, and tires on it. So that was another reason why I wanted to do the front springs before the show. I wanted the truck to sit upright, but it also wanted to be at actual ride height. So we put those big fats on the front. So we're going to try and get those big front wheels sanded and buffed, and get those tires treated in black like they're supposed to be, and get those on that truck for the show, and put those new wheels and tires from the drives on. We're also going to try and polish up all the air intake tubing. What we can't polish will get painted. We'll get all of the rubber couplers cleaned and treated so they look good. Try and line up all of the clamps and make it look nice, and get that truck to the show. Yes, the exact same paint scheme and colors, right from the factory. I agree. I think 4 states should sponsor me. I would love, you know what you should do? You guys should just pop them a little email and be like, super cool to see some 4 state stuff on James Pretty's trucks. That'd be super cool. So, Mark, I bought a set of tanks. If you remember, I got a set of tanks from JP. The biggest problem is they're not perfect. And I know my tanks are in bad shape, but if I'm going to do tanks, I want brand new, perfect tanks. I know that's kind of like a selfish thing to say, but that truck deserves to have perfect, brand new, polished tanks. And I just want them so bad. I'm going to try to get some for the show, but I don't have a lot of time. Oh, boy. Sleepy times is creeping up on me. What do we like up there? A little bit cloudy. It's pretty warm here. I'm guessing it's in the 70s or 80s. Let me just give it a little peek on the old Apple weather app. 65, so not as warm as I thought it was. Could be high of 69 today. Looks like their weather is 69, 70, 69, 70, 70, 70, 74, 74 for the next few days. Okay, so that's a very good question. Chad, Steve, Tim could have some help. So Tim's already asked. I actually thought that would do it. And I'm not sure that they're not. I'm not sure that they're not considering it. I'm not sure that they haven't considered it. I'm not sure what their plans are. Maybe they want to meet me first. Maybe they're watching some of my stuff to see if I'm the type of person that they want represent their company. I have no idea. I've never reached out to them. Most of the things that I have gotten is because I reached out to them, and I don't mind doing it. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And right now I've just been saturated. I'm totally task saturated. And so I just haven't done it. I don't know. I don't know why I haven't done it. I should have done it last year, but it is what it is. I'd love to be under the 4-state veil. That'd be super cool. When are you going to start the stretch and add the axle? I looked at that question a bit ago, Vance, and I got off on a tank tangent, but so that's a great question, brother. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a break from heavy stuff. We got to get moved. Once Matt's is finished, I have to go. I have a commitment. I have to go and get the truck on the dyno. I have made the commitment that I'm going to do that, and I have to do it. So right after Matt's, we're going to get the truck up north to the dyno. We're going to try and have a little dyno event with Tim, and hopefully Bruce can come, and then maybe old two stroker come with one of his, probably Mossy, and see that makes 200 horsepower, not 2,000. And no, I'm just kidding. It probably makes pretty good horsepower. I'd love to see that on the dyno. I think it'd be pretty cool. And we'd like to have a little dyno day and, have some good food and socialize a bit, and that'd be super cool. But once that's done, I have got to focus on moving. We got a lot of work to do to the shop. We'll talk about the shop a little bit. We got some shop video coming out. We got some Rhonda stuff to talk about. Oh my God, super busy. So to answer your question, I don't have an answer for your question. I would like to kind of make it coincide with the paint job because, breakfast is getting me. We are going to stretch the frame, but we're not going to cut the frame. We're going to add to the back to the length I want, and then we're going to liner the entire inside. And then we're going to take, whatever the suspension is that we choose, which probably be Niue, whatever suspension we decide and whatever axles we decide and all that stuff is what you're getting me. We're going to just slide that up into the chassis, square it up, and drill out all the holes and make it happen. And at the same time, we're going to put the drop axle in. So it is going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a little bit of an expense, maybe 18,000 for that. So we got to gather up those funds. So yeah, definitely would like to do it and then get the paint job all done so we can sandblast the frame, paint the frame and suspension, and then paint the cab and call it done. That'd be super cool. So maybe by end of summer, maybe by beginning of spring, that'd be a good plan. All right, Sidetrack Sunday. We'll see you in Anchorage or from Anchorage. Yeah, Keith, it is expensive. It is. It really is. I've always liked the LTL 9000. It actually was my preference truck for a while. I don't know why that I'm going to call it bulky, but that bulky front end is just sexy. But I'm a weird guy anyways. I like the T2000. Nobody else I ever talked to liked the T2000. You guys have seen my T2000, right? Like the one I had a long time ago. I think I posted it before, but let me just see if I can whip up a picture of T2000. 129 pictures of Kenworths on my phone. What's the chances of my T2000 being recognized as a Kenworth by the iPhone? Yeah, slim to none. Jessica, where is a picture of my T2000? Where could it be? She's probably thinking to herself right now, what in the hell is a T2000? Yeah, dang it. I wonder where I can find that. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to open my pictures and go to the collections and to the favorites and scroll way back. Way back. Me with long hair, some guns, motorcycles, airplanes, Hummers. I used to have a civilian Hummer. I've got a military Hummer, but I used to have a civilian Hummer, and that was my civilian Hummer. You can see the date there. Was that 2013? Yeah, that's when my oldest daughter went to University of Michigan, and me and my wife moved in up there. Let's see. Airplanes and kitchens and here it is. I have found a picture. It's not a great picture. And some of you trucker guys might recognize the truck. I wish I had the whole front end, but this is my T2000, and I don't know if you guys recognize that or not. Which one of you guys is going to call it out? What company was that truck? It had to be better from the front because I think it had a lot more defining stripes from the front. Who can name it? I wish I had more pictures of it. That was a great truck. I love that truck. Had a red top 525. That puppy would set you back in the seat. Had a 10-speed in it. 306, I think 306. 306 rear end gears, 22.5 rubber. It was 1998. First gear was busted out of it. Nope, not Swift. The moving company. I think it's a moving company. I remember the name of it. I'm going to do a little Google search for it. I think it's moving and storage, though. I think this is the name of it. You got her, bro. Wheaton. Pupweather nailed it. Wheaton. That was a Wheaton truck, and I bought that truck. I don't know if that picture is of the right year. Nope, this is the picture's from 2014, but I bought the truck in like 10. I think 10. Yep, she's a Wheaton truck. I love that thing, man. Everybody's like, "Oh, I hate that truck. It's ugly." Man, I love that thing. It was because it was a company truck, it was pretty well taken care of. The interior was nearly perfect. Like I don't think they lived in it like like a normal over the road truck. I don't know how they couldn't, because I think if I remember right, Wheaton was a long haul like Mayflower and the other movers that did like coast to coast moving, and so I can't imagine they didn't live in the truck. But the interior was nearly perfect, and it had all black interior, not like the standard two-tone stuff. It had like a what I would consider to be like a higher end interior. I wish I had all the pictures from when I bought the truck. It had great pictures of the interior. It had cruise on the steering column, on the steering wheel. And I remember I think it was the first truck that I ever had that had 3 stages of Jakes that worked with the cruise. So like, you're coming down the mountain and the thing would be like first stage, and then if it couldn't handle it, it'd pop up on the second stage, and then if it couldn't handle it, go to third stage, and then it would like go back and forth. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever, because my only exposure to Jake brakes prior to that was just a toggle switch on the dash. It was just whatever the unmaintained junk ass Jake brakes would do. So I just really loved the truck. It was pretty amazing. And the truck had power that as the boost came on, it like sunk you back into the super plush seats that were in it. Yeah, I love that thing. What's up, Big Paul? How's it going, brother? Big Paul RC. Oh, see, I didn't even know that, Pupwaller. Hope I was saying that right. Let me see. My brother sent me something. Let me look. Let me eyeballs it. Is that what they called it, Seth? Oh, nice, Matthew. How you like the BJ and the Bear truck? I'd like to have one of those someday, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. My brother's trying to send me something, but it ain't coming through. What's up, Jed? How's it going? What's up, brother? YouTube is awesome. Nice. Looks like I kind of fudged the screen a little bit, and then it kind of whited out the background. Let's see. Let me give you a little. There's the full view back there. What do you guys think? Pretty good looking out there, ain't it? Hong Kong is one of my favorite destinations. I have spent weeks at a time here. I've been coming to Hong Kong for about 9 years now. And man, I love Hong Kong. The people are cool. There's a Bruce Lee right down there. You can't see it from here, but I am like less than 1 mile from the Bruce Lee Memorial. It's a big Bruce Lee statue down there. Yeah, I love this place. One of my favorite destinations. All right, Roger. We'll see, brother. We're gonna try and do another live. It'd probably be a day and a half from now, maybe 2 days from now in Anchorage. And the view won't quite be like this, but we'll try and get you a good view. Probably be just of a homeless camp out the back window of the old Sleep Cheap. We stay in there. But we're gonna do another one. So if you got to take off, I get it, and maybe we'll catch you on another one. Yeah, Keith, I love it. I love that view. When I come here, we stay in a couple of different hotels right on this little strip here, but about 60% of the time I think they call that a bay. I get a bay view, and man, I just love this place. Nice. Okay, so you guys want to have a little Rhonda update? Dun dun dun. This shit is broken. There's not much of an update. Rhonda is down. I hurt that thing so bad. I feel bad. Uh, okay, so and one of you guys, I don't remember who it was, but one of you guys said something about it in the video of me trying to get that semi trailer ripped off the back of the building. I don't remember who it was, but I remember a comment where they were like, "Never do that." So what I was doing was I was using the cables to the semi trailer that weighs about 40,000 pounds, by the way, and I was trying to jerk it with the truck and get it to roll, and then just drag it out with the truck. Now that would have worked, but when we first got hooked up to it, we couldn't get back all the way up to it because there was a tree there that we ended up having to cut down and cut down and cut down. But what I should have done was I should have backed under it with the tow bar, and then we didn't have any chain from the tow bar to the trailer, and then just use the winches, the cables to pick up the trailer. And then when I used the truck to pull, it would have just pulled at the tow bar that was connected to the truck. But what I was doing was pulling from the cables that were just connected to the wrecker. And I don't know if you guys could tell, but we relocated. So that wrecker is bolted to the frame, and then on the top going to the back there are these huge like rigging to keep that wrecker straight. And we bent that shit so bad, dude. Like the wrecker itself is like canted backwards and on an angle. And the only reason why I noticed that it did that, because I was like, there's no way it can't. Because if you pull back, it's going to hit that A-frame and it's going to keep it from bending backwards. But the reason why I know that it did bend it backwards, obviously you see it, but is because the chain got so tight, and it's usually like loose and floppy. It got so tight that it was like superheating and starting to glow red, and it was smoking like a freight train. And there's like this square box tubing rigging they put on there so you could get up and down there, and every one of the joints is cracked. So we bent that wrecker back quite a ways. Now, that in itself is not a huge deal, but on the passenger side reel, main cable reel, it's got a great big ring gear, and it's a 400-to-1 ratio. The 400-to-1 ratio is actually a combination of all the ratios. So how do I make it more realistic on just that? So there's a gear this big that turns off of the gear reduction from the transmission through the chain gear reduction onto this little tiny sprocket about this big, and then it spins a sprocket that's like this big. So it's a huge gear reduction, and it actually is 400-to-1 from the PTO to the cable drum. There's a section of teeth about, I have a picture. The video is coming out anyways. You guys are going to have to watch the video. But I have a picture of the teeth. And I'm fixing to share that with you in about 13 seconds. When my eyes find it. Okay, right here. So now there's an explanation. I'm going to show you this picture, and then we're going to talk about it for a minute. Okay, so you see this? Now, first thing you notice when you look at this picture is these teeth are all smashed off hamburger meat. But what you see also is you see this old grease that's packed in those gears for decades because nobody ever took care of this wrecker. And they just greased it and greased it and greased it, and all that grease got down in there. And then it, as they were working in the shit, in the rain and the snow and the goat manure and wherever they had this thing, dirt and grease was getting in between those cogs and packing like cement in between the teeth. So when you have a gear mesh that's getting clogged up with dirt and grease and stuff, what it does is it actually pushes, you wouldn't think it'd be possible, but it pushes those gears apart, right? And so as soon as mama bear and baby bear lose connection or lose this connection where the strength is and get more out to here where there isn't strength, it's going to bend something. And so that main ring gear is hollow. And I wouldn't have done that, but what's up, Rick? I wouldn't have made it hollow, but the engineers from whoever made it thought, man, having a hollow gear makes sense because it's cheaper. But what happens was that hollow gear, it's about 1.5 inches thick, and a 1/2 inch of that is the gear cogs. So the base of the gear is about 3/4. Let's say it's 3/4. And so as that shit was piling up in there, and that distance between the gear teeth was getting taken up with grease and schmutz, it was putting a lot of pressure on that, and it actually bent that section of teeth down quite a bit. I have a picture of that too. It's really super interesting. I would have never, Derek, my fabricating friend, this dude's a genius. But anyhow, this is a picture. He started doing the repair. So this is a picture. Let me get it to where we can both see. This is a picture of the teeth after he cleaned them up so that he could start welding on them. And then you see that cardboard cutout on the outside. That is where the teeth are actually supposed to be if that ring gear wasn't pushed in right there. Okay. So it's not the end of the world, but it's not the 3-hour repair that we were thinking about. Now this section, I don't want to copy. Hold on. Stand by. This section, right here, you can see how low it is, and you can see that gear is kind of bent in, and it's not a huge deal. So what we got to do is we got to rotate that drum a little bit, and then we got to get a porta power in there, and we're going to make a radius block that matches what radius is supposed to be on that gear, and we're going to glow that thing red. And we're going to porta power that back out to where it's supposed to be. Now, once we get that done, we'll go in and we'll start. When I say we, I mean him, because he's the fabricator, not me. We're going to go in there and we're going to start building those teeth back up, and we're going to get that thing squared up, and we're going to get those teeth made perfectly, and we're going to clean that whole gear out, and we're going to set that lash. I'm going to call it lash. It's probably lash. We're going to set that lash the way it's supposed to be so we can use that cable. We smashed that thing down so far. It used to just skip a little, and then it got to where it got there and it just missed all the teeth, and it just freewheeling in there, not doing anything. So probably this month, that'll be back together. And then we're going to address the part that I destroyed. So we're going to cut off all that extra tubing. It'll be a great video on all of that stuff and what the plans are. We're going to put some toolboxes in there, but let's get this stuff cut down. We're going to cut out the base where the wrecker itself bolts to the frame of the truck. We're going to rebuild that. We're going to square that unit back up. And we got two things that we might do. Right now it's like a gear driven shaft to a gear, to a chain, to a series of chains. And it's really just 1960s crap. What we're considering is eliminating all of that gear drive, chain drive BS and putting a hydraulic pump on, hydraulic tank, hydraulic cooling system, and a hydraulic motor to run that wrecker. We may do that. Who knows how it's going to be, but either way, we get that unit back together. We got 2 more semi-trailers to take off the building, 2 more walls to completely redo, and get that shop ready to go by May. So there it is. Hydraulic winch is $15,000. Okay, so maybe we won't go to hydraulic. I hadn't done any pricing yet, but that's a lot of money. Big Paul, sorry that I missed that question about Marlowe's engine. We went over that a little bit, well, for 30 minutes at the beginning of this. The engine is fixed, and we are on track to make it to Matt's. Sorry, Dan, if I already missed you. Appreciate you hanging out. I don't know what a slick tire gear is, brother. Let me look at that crooked. Let me look at that crooked thing. It does kind of have the allure of it being crooked, but I think it's just because it's twisted. Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? We got in trouble here actually a couple of years ago. We were flying a drone over there, and that's a no-fly zone. Believe it or not, that little building, I don't know what it is, but that little building right there, that little building, that's a no-fly zone. And we had a drone out here, and we were flying over there. Nope, you don't want to do that in Hong Kong. Just saying. Okay, yeah. Send me some pictures, bro. Yeah, pup, I might do something. You know what I'd rather do? I'd rather just not have a wrecker. Man, wreckers are a lot of work, dude. It's like having a RGN. Any of you guys run a RGN? Any of you guys my age? 56, 55, 55, I lied. I'm at 56, so may. Any of you guys my age and run a RGN? Kudos to you. Bro, that's hard work. I had forgotten how much work it is chaining shit down. I know it doesn't sound like it. Like if you've done it before and you're a younger guy or you're my age and you've been doing it your whole life and it doesn't seem hard, excuse me, I have more respect for you than I did because it is a hard-ass job. Yeah. Let me see. Nice. Yeah, so we've been doing some RGN stuff with Marla. Marla pulls that thing like champ. She gets super high EGTs. We're not really concerned about it because we're not going to be working the truck right now. We did turn the fuel back down to get some control on the EGTs, but now it's not very much fun to drive. I mean, it's still 650 horsepower, but it's nothing like what it is when it's making smoke. Let me tell you that much. We're running that big ass turbo at 50 psi. We're kind of beyond the injector capabilities. So we definitely have some EGT trouble. I think we're getting the fire out of the bowl of the piston. Um, so we're going to step up to about what would you call that? Maybe 15% larger injector, so we can turn it back down below 100%. That'd be pretty cool. See if the EGTs will come down. I do not want to have to put a smaller turbo on it. There's a reason that they have that monster on there. We'll talk about that later. But yeah. Yeah, Pop Waller, I'm telling you what, Bob, like something about being over 50, that stuff's hard work. Um, yeah. It took like I'm gonna say by the time me and Jessica got Franny on the trailer, and we don't have a way to lock the diffs, so we had to ramp it up there, ramp it up there, ramp it up there. So there's dicking around doing that. But by the time we got that on the trailer and chained down, I'm talking over an hour. And that's a lot of work. And then we got it hooked up, and then the truck was too far forward, and so we couldn't get the trail. So the bad thing about a Globe, I don't know if you guys got a lot of RGN experience, but when you're disconnecting the neck, you have to have the ability to whatever your height adjustment is, whether you've got that specialized or whatever function. The Globe has this like 5 position fingers that you can let it down on, and it's different heights. But to get it all the way off, you have to have them, all the fingers have to be pointed back into the well. So if you have a long vehicle in there, you can't get those fingers all the way down to get the trailer disconnected. And so what we had done was we got the truck up on there, way up on the back, and then we were over height by 11 inches. And so I was just going to haul it over height, but I thought, you know what? I just don't, if I get pulled over, I just don't want that to contribute to further inspection of what I was doing. And so I said, let's just, we got the truck hooked up. Let's just let it down the ramps a little bit and see if we can get it. We let it down to where it was only this far away from the neck, and then we couldn't get the fingers, that whole finger thing is about this wide. So we couldn't get it all the way swung back onto the trailer to get it off. So then we had to do the old pop the clutch and throw the board under it, pop the clutch and throw the board under to move it back like 5 inches up the ramp without a diff lock to be able to get the gooseneck off. And so it was just, man, it's just a pain in the ass. So it took longer to unload it than it did to load it. But we learned a valuable lesson about that. We're going to build some ramps so I can just back right up onto the back of the trailer without having to worry about that. It needs some anyways. We're ordering some. Tim Gentry actually makes up some really good binders. I've looked at many different binders from every different company I could find on the internet, and I couldn't find anything as cool as the binders that Tim is using. Tim orders the binders and orders the ends and then rigs them all up himself. He's got like a safety slip hook on one side. Do you need the safety? No, but the nice thing about the safety is you slap it on the D-ring, and then it won't fall off while you're fidgeting around up there getting it onto the chain. So you use a safety, so you slap it on the D-ring, and then you can lay the thing down and it won't disconnect, and you can get up there and do business, right? And then on the other end, he switched to all 1/2 inch chain, like grade 100 or something 1/2 inch chain, which I don't know all the rules. I don't know all the rules, but some of the rules are, you have to use good quality chain. It has to be certified. It has to be like a certain grade, and then you have a working load limit. And if the chain is like connected to a ring directly, and then a binder, and then directly to the machine, you get like the full working load limit. But if you wrap the chain around it to itself, then it splits the working load. I don't know all the rules. I am not uh, an RGN expert. And I bought an RGN because I always wanted one. I had some experience when I was in excavating, chaining some shit down in Holland. I thought it was cool, but I didn't know the rules then, and I don't know the rules now. We're going to learn the rules so we do it right. I don't want to be responsible for hurting anybody with my equipment. You guys don't want me to be responsible for hurting somebody with my equipment. So we're gonna learn the rules. We're gonna do it right. One of the things I'm gonna do is get good chains, good binders, and use proper securement because it means something. So I'm gonna do it. But that being said, I didn't have any of that stuff, so we had to put multiple chains of binders on to, in my mind, have the proper working load limit for just a $16,000 or 16,000 pound truck. If I had some real chains and some real binders, I could put 4 on there and just been done with it. Probably got it done in a half hour. We'll get better at it. Now, I've read something that I need to fully read to understand. Yeah, William, you're right. Man, I don't know what I haven't really made a plan for that. Um, Rhonda could be a cool truck. It looks cool. On video, it looks amazing because you can't see all the Bondo that's cracked off of that thing and all the potential catastrophes. But on video, it looks really cool. And I did spend a lot of money building all new booms and making stuff cool. But the 850 is wore out, brother. Like what you would normally move a lever this far, you have to move the lever this far. Now that's not just in the pins and bushings. You could take the pins, all the pins out of the mechanisms for the levers. You could take all those pins out and weld all those holes up, put all new pins and bushings in, and make that shit tight. And you still would be over traveling those because I'm not sure what it's called, so you can murder me over it if you want, but I'm going to call it the clutches, which are those big gear drives that you actually, when you move the lever, it actually swings a clutch inside of a housing and then turns that output in either direction. I'm going to call it a clutch, an overrunning clutch, a drive clutch, or whatever kind of clutch it is. Those are wore out. I knew they were wore out when I first got it because it takes, some of them you can't really even get in, even though the travel is the same. You have to over travel it, and then you kind of feel it clunk, clunk, clunking around in there. So the clutches in there are just wore out. So when I first got the thing, I knew that was a problem, and I got on the internet and I started trying to find somebody that could rebuild those. And those people are dead. I mean, you may personally know how to do it. That'd be super cool because then you could come to my place and repair those things. But the people who used to rebuild those I'm going to call them artisans because that shit seems beyond my mechanical ability. And anybody who built those things for a living probably could rebuild one of those in 15 minutes and knows all about how they work and what goes out. I'm going to call that person artisan. Those people are dead. You don't use those things anymore. Just like good Detroit guys on two strokes, there are very few younger guys like Wayno who have spent the time to learn the old stuff. And all those guys who used to build Detroits, they're all dead too, probably. So if I could find somebody that could rebuild all of those clutches, whatever they're called, and make that thing work like new, I would for sure do it. Because I think that 850 has some nostalgic life left. But I just don't know where to do it. I don't know where to get it done. Yeah, 100%. YouTube is awesome. 100%. There's a reason they stopped using that truck because it was so wore out and so slow that it didn't make them any money. It just cost them money. You're 100% right. Oh, that's cool, pup. Yeah, dude, Jamie Davis doesn't want to talk to me though, bro. That dude is busy. That'd be like, just like and I'm not a fan of Murphy. Um, everybody doesn't like everybody. I'm just not a fan of Murphy. I wouldn't even I probably wouldn't even reach out to that guy. And first of all, he's busy as hell too. So he doesn't want to talk to me. I'm not anybody. But I don't enjoy his stuff and I just wouldn't want to make a connection with him. Now, Jamie, I used to watch his stuff. He's Canadian, right? Is he Canadian? Does he live up in like Dakota or something? I don't remember, but I used to watch his stuff. I'm not saying Murphy's not smart. Murphy's an intelligent dude. I mean, anybody who can get, you know, a million views on every video, guy knows what he's doing. I'm not putting him down. I just don't care for his stuff. Um, I don't like fake stuff though. So, um, but Jamie's cool, but he don't want to talk to me. If we lived somewhere close, like and I could take the wrecker over there and be like, "Oh man, what do you think of my wrecker?" We might be able to make a connection. But he is that guy's super busy, and I don't know why, but I feel bad. I feel bad reaching out to somebody to like pick their brain. If I was somewhere where I could call that guy and then maybe I could bring in my stuff and he could like make money off me, I wouldn't feel so bad about asking for him to share some wisdom. But I hate to take advantage of somebody uh, that I'm never going to be able to give them any money. You know what I mean? But either one of those guys are fine. So the old man, you guys watched the original Rhonda stuff. Did you see that old man in there? That was the owner of that company. And I think he had that truck. I think he said he had that truck 25 years or something. So he probably, if in his younger days, he probably could rebuild those. But I mean, he is not in really good health. I'd feel bad even messing with that for as little as I'm going to use it anyway. But I do want to shore it up. I do want to square it up. I do want to repair the gear train. I do want to do something with that chain drive to make it less wore out. I do want to be able to use the thing. And now that I know that you can't just hook onto it with the cables and rip on the transmission like it's going out of style without hurting something. I guess that if I had any experience with it prior to that, I would have already learned that. But I learned that pulling that trailer off, and now I know better. And now I know what I would do different. And I also need to buy. I need to buy a couple of snatch blocks. I need to buy a couple of snatch blocks. I think that's what you call them. You put the hook on the truck, and then the cable goes through the dealy do and comes out. So you're actually pulling with the truck. I'm going to get some of those too. Yeah, that's funny, William. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Compound pulling. Yeah. And it would make a big difference. Like when I was trying to be careful because I knew that we had that bad spot and I was trying to avoid doing what I'd end up doing to it, stripping it out completely. So I was trying to like, you watching um, this video that's coming out in the next couple of days. You're watching there where I had some, they had the booms splayed a couple of different times because I could I could coil up cable real good on the driver's side, and I could raise and lower the boom real good. But on the passenger side, where those gears are stripped off, I couldn't get through them. Sometimes, if it was freewheeling cable, it would roll past and catch some other teeth and like re-engage. But if I had any weight on it at all, it would just get there and stop. And that same, what I call it, a trunnion, that same trunnion turns I don't know how to say that. And I may be wrong in thinking that that same one raises and lowers the boom. But anyhow, I was just struggling to get, and you'll see in the video. It's a 35-minute long video, and basically all I'm trying to do is get it disconnected from the trailer and get it moved around to where we can work on it. But it's a good video. You guys should check it out. I'm going to probably release it tomorrow. I don't know if I'll do that one or the shop video. Or one of them's coming out tomorrow. One's coming out Wednesday. We'll have to see which one. Pup, I used to have. I grew up with 5-ton military wreckers. Man, we use the shit out of them. I love them. I wish I had one. But back when I was a kid, my dad could get those things for $2,000. Now they're like $15,000 for one that you can't stop. And the brake system on those 5-ton wreckers sucks. If they don't work, they just don't work. There's like the old Winnebagos. They had like a vacuum assist thing to like amplify the brake pressure. Those military wreckers have that as well, and they just don't work, and the parts are just not super available. Like we worked on trying to get brakes on one of my dad's for like 3 years. We changed everything on there you could change with new old stock junk from warehouses, and it's just none of it works. But anyways, I grew up with them. I love them. I wish I had one, but I'm not paying $15,000 for one. Excuse me. So we talked about Rhonda. We talked about having to take off 2 more trailers off the sides of the shop. We got lights in the shop, so it's pretty cool. Not happy with the back wall. We're going to change some stuff on that. We got to get those trailers off, get the sidewalls done. We got to put a new entrance door in there. We got to gut that place and pressure wash it, and then we got to get Trisha in there and get that thing stripped. We got beavers and we got coyotes on the property. Jessica saved me from stumbling into a coyote den the other day. We were out there. Where were we? We were coming out to the ranch, and Jessica goes, "Oh, there's coyote right there." And so the only gun we had was Jessica's carry piece, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna try and shoot that thing from 250 yards with a 9mm. Here's a 9mm, right, babe?" So I was like, "Well, we won't mess with it." We see him out there. He was looking at the donkeys. I know the donkeys can take care of themselves, so we weren't super concerned about it. And I have a sniper rifle. And so we brought the sniper rifle out, and my dad, in his old age, my dad was not quite the gunsmith that he used to be. But he had this scope, and the rings are wrong. The sniper rifle we have is a Steyr, and it's 308, and it's a 693, 635. I don't remember the model number. Anyways, it's a Steyr, and it's a really good sniper rifle, but it takes special rings, special scope rings. And from that era, there weren't 45, 55mm tubes on scopes. They were like, the biggest one was like 30mm or something. And so the only Steyr rings that are available, like $1,000, and they're for 30mm. And I got this big ass 45mm tube scope. So I was trying to get it to work anyways. And where the rings clamp onto the receiver, it's very, very small. And so these great big rings are trying to like fit in there. And I was like tinking it around back and forth. And I was trying to sight it in, and I could get close, but I had to have it all the way left to have it off by about an inch at 50 yards. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to try, and I don't want to do it. I mean, I could have just locked it down, got it an inch off in 50 yards. And then, it does have a pretty good reticle. It's not just a what do they call this one? A mil spec reticle. It's not a Horus reticle either, but it does have uh, quite a few options there. So I probably could have done something with it, but rather than just half-ass it, I'm just going to get a different scope and different rings and set up right. So we couldn't do anything with the sniper rifle. I was going to bait it and smoke the thing, and then but we wanted to go out and walk the property. We hadn't done it since winter was over, and so we grabbed the AK. And so we were just out walking around with the AK, and I don't know, did I have the AK on when I almost went in the den? I don't remember, but we were checking out this one spot we've never seen before on the property, and it looked like there was an old mobile home or something that was blasted down in there. So I went down there to just look at all the stuff that was there. And I guess I walked right by the coyote den, and Jessica was like, "Hey, babe, you might want to just come back here. Come back here real slow." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "I think this right here is the coyote's den." And from looking at it on the internet, it probably is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop up some trail cameras out there and just get a peek at it. Coyotes are bad. Probably have to get rid of them, but on the same breath, I'm not 100% worried about them either. Dude, I don't know anybody who does 3D printing, bro. I don't. No, Pro Hunter I think is super new. Mine is old. Let me just see if I still have it saved. It's a Steyr SSG 6.69 is the model. And I think it's pretty old. I think it's pretty old. You have to check it out. But a Pro Hunter I think is way more modern. You guys, I know we talked about it before, but we're planning to do a really neat shooting range on the back of the property. We're gonna have I'm gonna dig a pond out there, and we're gonna have a silhouette area just beyond the pond, and then we're gonna have a cutout through this woods, and we're gonna have a 500-yard rifle range on the back half of that, and then in the woods around the cutout for the distance, we're gonna have military pop up if I can find them. Well, my dad used to have a bunch of them, but we're going to put up pop-up targets, and we're going to cut a trail in there, kind of like you guys watch that Hickok 45. He's got like a little walking trail he does sometimes, and he shoots zombies and stuff back there. We're going to do something similar to that, but I want to kind of have it advanced with some pop-ups, some motion detection, and pop-up targets. I think that'd be pretty cool. Me and Jessica used to be avid shooters. I have a few guns and a lot of ammo, and we used to go all the time. And then Jessica had an HK-45, and we got some bad ammo. And her gun, she ended up having double load, and it blew her gun up in her hand. And so we slowed down on shooting for a while, and then we moved, and life got busy, and we just haven't been shooting. We tried to go during COVID, and we packed up and drove like an hour to this gun range, and she's like, "Should we bring ammo?" And I'm like, "No, shooting ranges don't like it when you bring your own ammo." That's really not necessarily true, but where we were, they wouldn't let you shoot your own ammo. You had to buy theirs. And so I just adopted it as a thing. So we get there, and they would have let us shoot, but they didn't have any ammo. So we didn't have any with us, so we didn't get to shoot. And that was the last time we went out. So we do enjoy shooting. We are going to do some shooting on the ranch channel. We're going to get back to where we're good at it again and have some fun. But yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Well, pup, I'll see what I can find as far as if I can find anything with the specs on that. Um, that'd be super cool, actually. Oh, that's right. That's right, babe. I forgot we did shoot over at my buddy Tony's place in Missouri with my daughter and son-in-law. I forgot we did have a shooting day over there. I had this DPMS AR-10 with a hammer forged barrel, really, really good shooting weapon. And my oldest daughter took a liking to it. So uh, we ended up, I think we brought it out there with them, or maybe she already had picked it up. But we went out there and broke that thing back in, and she's a really good shot with that thing. Uh, and that gun has a Bushnell scope, and it has a Horus reticle. I don't know if you guys have ever shot anything with a Horus reticle, but it is pretty amazing um, what you can do with that. And so that gun is super accurate. She can shoot the staples, whichever staple you ask her to shoot at 200 yards, and she can just plink them things off like it's going out of style. But yeah, we're gonna get back into that. We love shooting. That was the moral of that 20-minute conversation, I guess. Okay, I'm trying to see. Trying to see what you said, Seth. I don't know if Seth left. Are you still here, Seth? I get distracted and forget to read the chat. What's up, Kelly? How's it going, brother? Nice. Yep, us too. Well, me too, and everybody else, I suppose. All right, cool. I didn't know if you left. I didn't know what you meant needs to go up there. You said something needs to go, and I read it super late, so I thought you were trying to say you needed to go. Oh, coyotes. Yeah, yeah. I know. We don't have any other animals, but the neighbors all around us, have cows and stuff, and I wouldn't want to be the guy that was not taking care of the coyotes. Like I said, if the sniper rifle would have been a thing where I could have just went out there and popped a thing, I would have. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of feel bad, but I'll probably turn that thing inside out. I wish I still had the 50 BMG because I always wanted to see what the inside was like. But I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the internet. I mean, I got some other stuff I could use. I got a scar. Uh, I got that. I got that super fancy AR. Uh, what's that guy's name? Oh boy, can't remember his name. He's got a burly beard and he's dark hair. I got one of his jobs. Pretty cool. Yeah, I wish I had some buddies around that did that printing and had all that fancy stuff. I don't have a set of rings for that gun. I can get them. I can get a set of 30 millimeter, and I could just buy a 30 millimeter tube scope too. But I really like how much light you can get in a big tube scope. Yeah, that's true. We're past due for chickens. Actually, we've been eating store bought eggs for like a year. It's really annoying. We got used to those delicious, yummy, fresh eggs from in the backyard of my neighbor's house, and man, we've been choking down store eggs. They just do not taste the same. You know what I mean? Right. Jessica asked, "Who here is our competition for the Pete that Bruce is giving away?" Let's talk about that thing. Man, is that a gorgeous truck? So, just to give you an example, we recently sold JP's 359. It's a similar year. It is Cummins powered. It is a short hood, and we recently sold JP's truck. Now, Bruce's truck is a low mile, one owner deal, long hood. I think it's cat powered. Super nice truck. Got some fancy stuff on it from four states. Super nice truck, and I would love to have that truck. And I keep, I keep investing um, in giveaways, and I just someday I would love to win me a beautiful truck. And this one I'd really like to have. Now, I wanted blue collar, something fierce. I spent a ton of money trying to win that blue collar truck. Um, but guys, go out, buy you a keychain or something, get entered into that thing. Wouldn't it be super cool to win a $50,000 truck or more for like $10? I mean, it'd be super cool. BruceWilsonShop.com. Get you a keychain, t-shirt, hat, a do-rag, whatever else is in there that you might want, and get entered on that thing. You guys know that I'm friends with Bruce, and I support um, I support sometimes a lot of his giveaways, and I'd love it if I didn't win that truck. I would love for one of you guys to win that truck. Uh, anyways, get your keychain and get after it, huh? BruceWilsonShop.com. Yeah, yeah. My a fox didn't a fox get Liz's chickens? Man, they bought a neighboring piece of land. They live in Missouri, and they bought a another 10 acres or something next door to their 10 acres, and it had an old barn and an old house and stuff on it. And apparently, a fox was living there, and the fox killed all her chickens. Oh, military helicopter. That's cool. Anyway, you see that squirrel? It's right there. Right there. See him? Anyways, um, build a trailer the same year as Marla and paint it up like Marla. It's not a horrible idea. It's in 1985, so like, what would be a 1985 vintage? Like, God, like any of them, right? Like a Trailmobile or something like that. Fruhoff, 85. I don't know what year Don McCord's reefer is. I thought I was going to get some reefers from Gentry, um, but I haven't got it yet. But I ended up, Gentry was trying to sell that Bobcat, that 873. Is that what it's called? Let me just look. I hate giving out false information. Um, but dun dun dun. Let's show you a picture. Yeah, it's 873. So I ended up making a deal with Timmy on this thing. He had it for sale. He got it. and liked it, but then he got a big one with tracks on it, and so then he was trying to sell this one. And I didn't even think about like wanting one, but we were talking about some stuff, and he's like, "Dude, do you need a bobcat for the ranch?" And I was like, "Oh man, I'd love to have a bobcat." And he's like, "Why don't you get this, this bobcat from me?" And I was like, "Oh, what bobcat?" And I had forgotten he even had one. So he like sends me a couple pictures. Why don't you get this thing, man? It's a nice thing, it's got this many hours on it. Yada yada yada. I think I might have a grapple, maybe, this and that for it. And I was like, sold. So hopefully I get that thing out to the ranch pretty soon. And man, oh man, I need it. You guys probably, if you watch my Facebook, you probably saw I had some gravel delivered. Well, let me just tell you, gravel is not cheap. When I hauled gravel back in 1993, I used to do 20 tons in my triaxle Ford L9000. I used to deliver 20 tons within 50 square miles for $280. Did you know that that same 20 tons is $700 now? Holy shnikey. So, how my driveway is 1,000 feet long. How many? Okay, Grandpa, cool story. My driveway is 1,000 feet long out to the shop. How many loads of number five? Or is that number three? I don't remember. Is that number five or number three, lady? Do you remember? But anyways, how many loads of rock does it take to cover 1,000 feet of driveway? Number three, yeah, I think it is number three. Uh, well, let me just tell you, if you buy 3 truckloads for $2,000, you can almost cover 1,000 feet. And so, anyways, this old guy, super nice, but he's kind of old. He's retired a couple of times in his life. And he comes out in this old dump truck, and his first load just lays her down like he'd been doing his whole life, because he has. And then he comes out with the second load, and instead of making it going further, he just kind of doubles up what he already did, and then he leaves a gap, and then doubles up what he did again. And I was like, oh, okay, he probably didn't need a little extra there. So the gravel's like freaking this deep, right? And then he comes out with another load, and he starts to go from the other side, kind of like from the road, and he forgets to chain up, and so he like runs the box up, and he lets the gate go, and the thing just like opens up, and he dumps like a third of the load in a pile. He notices it right away, but by the time he lets the thing back down, it puts like a third of the load, like 7 tons of number three, just in a pile in the middle of the driveway. And he's like 70. So he gets a shovel out, and he's starting to shovel, and I'm like, negative, give me the shovel. And then I'm starting to shovel, and then I realize I'm 55. I'm not 20. And so like I shovel for a couple minutes, and he shovels for a couple minutes, and I shovel, and I'm finally like, listen, I'll get it. I'll just get a tractor and get over here. So then he finishes, he makes me a double path down by the shop, so it's a little wider, and it's this thick as well. So I really do need that skid steer. Uh, and I need to level that. I need to grade that driveway. But I do have gravel now. So it's super cool. We're still going to do something with the entrance. Hopefully, we'll get some pavement in there, and then put in some new. We're going to put a new gate and one of those. I don't know what you call them. We call that big thing, Seth, that goes over your farm, over your ranch, like when your entrance. The gate goes in between, and they're really tall, and it's that got cross beam up there, and you hang some goat balls off it. What do you call that? We're gonna get one of those. This says a pretty ranch. What in the heck is chert? Oh, so let me tell you, we bought that rock, and I paid $700 a load. And the guy that I asked, they got some of this gray slate, beautiful. And I was talking to him like 2 days earlier, and I was like, dude, how much for that stuff? I want that stuff in my driveway. And he's like, well, I don't know, maybe $600 a load, and I'll bring my skid steer out and grade it for you. And I was like, okay, cool. Can you bring it today? And the guy just like stopped talking to me. And I hit him up like 3 or 4 more times over the next couple of days. Hey, can you bring a load today? I got mud. I need it. And he just didn't answer me. So then I called this other guy, and he's the one charged me $700 a load for this white rock that has like these gray veins in this white rock. It's great looking. It's great looking stone, and it packs really hard. But it's not that gray slate. That gray slate's gorgeous. So then, like literally 15 minutes after the guy spread the last load on the driveway, the other guy hits me up and he's like, hey man, you want some of that stuff today? So I would have probably got 4 loads of that gray slate, and he would have brought his skid steer out and made the driveway perfect, and then he probably would have fixed the entrance and everything. But instead, I paid a couple $100 more for stone that I don't really like. Yep, that's what I was thinking too. Duh. All right, guys, it's been 2 hours. Man, we've talked a lot. I've talked a lot. Any specifics that you want to talk about before I call her quits? I'm getting tired. Old man's getting tired. I don't know what I do. Let me look. I'll tell you how many hours before I leave, and I still need to sleep about 8 of those. It looks like, dun, dun, dun. It looks like I fly from Hong Kong to Anchorage on the 8th at 0700. So you think about the 8th. It is the 8th here. Did you know that? I'm on the other side of the date line. No, that's not true. That's a lie. It's the 7th here at 10:35 a.m. But this morning, coming up, will be the 8th. And it's the 6th at your place, right? Yeah. Is it the 7th there, babe? Or the 6th? Yes. So it's what? How? 13 hours. Oh, it's the 7th for me. It's the 6th for you. Yeah. Okay. See, once you've crossed 5 time zones and a date line, a guy can't remember what day it is. But according to this, I don't know how many hours that is. In 19 hours from now, I have to leave. And then it's going to take me approximately 23, so 9 hours and 50 minutes to fly from Hong Kong to Anchorage. So, and then I'm in Anchorage for 2 days, and then I'm going to Hamilton, Ontario, and dropping off cargo and picking up cargo and driving and flying to O'Hare. And I'll be in O'Hare for what looks like, 18 hours. Yeah, that's no good. Hold on a minute. I don't know what's going on here. I got a spam call and I hung up on it and then I called it back. Nobody wants to be calling back a spam call and proving that your phone number works. But anyways, yeah, I got like 20 hours in Chicago and then I fly back to Korea. Dirt up around northeast Alabama, northwest Georgia is like clay and limestone mixed. Up on my property in Galesville, it's kind of orange yellowish. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I saw Tally's rings, but aren't they 30 millimeter jobbies? It could be full of crap. All right. What do you think, guys? I'm going to call it quits. You guys ready for this to be over? 2 hours. Jessica's like, Kaylee, night. All right, guys, I appreciate everybody being in here and hanging out with me. Uncle always used to fix driveway. You know, I thought about doing that as well. I don't want to get off on another tangent, but I thought about doing that as well. Doing, they call it slurry seal, or, they basically spray down asphalt oil and then they stick rocks on it, and it eventually gets, hard, kind of like asphalt. But anyways, oh, hey, what's up? What's up, Mad Cow Mark? How you doing, brother? I don't know if you've been here for a while or if I just noticed your name, but appreciate you being here. Anyways, guys, that's it. Appreciate you coming, and we will see ya.